Lists in Python are indexed and we can access lists just like a string, and so they're simple to use and can be of different length. They can grow and shrink automatically. In reality, the list data structure is just like an array in other programming languages. List is an ordered and mutable collection of data. That means it can be changed once defined. For example, here's a variable called veggies. It is basically a list, as you can see that carrot, potato, and cucumber are enclosed in square brackets. You can print your list using the print function. Give parameter veggies as an input to the print function, and the output you will see in will be carrot, potato, and cucumber. Each of the item can be accessed using index number. For example, if you want to access carrot, you can simply use 0 in square brackets after typing veggies in print function, and you will get the result carrot. We can perform multiple operations over list. If you want to repeat each element of a list, simply multiply your list variable with that number. That is, if you want to repeat the list elements twice, then multiply your list variable by 2. To repeat them twice, multiply it by 3. Now coming to list operations. Multiple operations can be performed over lists. We have the concatenation operator, in which you can concatenate lists together. We have L1 having element 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have another list with elements 5, 6, 7, 8. If perform concatenation using plus symbol, then the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First 4 elements are from list L1 and the last 4 elements are from list L2. You can concatenate any number of these lists together. You can also find the presence of an element in a list using membership. Let me recall you. We have multiple operators, out of which there's a membership operator, in and not in. Here the membership operator will try to find whether 2 belongs to the list LST. If it is in the list, then it will print true, otherwise it will print false. By this time, you are familiar with the for loop. Here the for loop is used to iterate over each element of the list, any list, and print its element one by one. Also, we have many methods associated with the list. For example, to find the length of the list, we use the len method. To find minimum and maximum elements of a list, use min and max functions. You can also sort your list with a simple function and add elements in your list using the append function, as I told you that lists are changeable. To delete elements of a list, use remove method. And to delete a list, use the del method. As discussed in the slides, let me create a list of veggies, put some values in a square bracket, say carrot, potato, onions, turnip, and broccoli. Now, if I print this variable veggies, the output cell will show me the list of veggies. As lists are indexed collections, you can access individual elements of the list using an index number in a square bracket. As we know, there are 2 ways of indexing, positive and negative. In positive indexing, each element has an index which increases from left to right. To access the first element, use index 0. Type the name of your list, veggies, and pass the index number 0 in the square brackets. It returns carrot, the very first member of the list. Potato is associated with 1, turnip with 2, onion with 3, and broccoli with 4. If I say veggies with index 4, it returns broccoli. Notice that even my list has 5 elements. The indices go from 0 to 4. So, if I ever use the index 5, I will get an error because index 5 does not exist in the list. Now, in negative indexing, the last element of the list has an index of -1, and the second last element has an index of -2, and so on. So let me show you an example to access the last element of the list. Provide -1 in indexing and it will return the last item. As you see, it returns last element, that is broccoli, from the list. You can access a range from a list by specifying where to start and where to end in a square bracket using colon. Type veggies, square bracket, open 2, colon 4, and close the bracket. Run it. It returns turnip, present at index 2, and onions located at index 3. But the value at index 4 is not returned. The range works this way that the ending element you specify will be excluded from the list. You can also leave the starting index and pass ending index in brackets. In this case, 0 will be the default index. So, if I run the code, I get a list from index 0 till index 4, but again, index 4 is excluded. Now, I'm demonstrating an example of specifying range using a negative index. Type veggies -2, colon -1. This example returns one item from index -2. Item at index -1 is excluded. It returns onion only as onion is at index -2, which is my starting range position. An element at index -1, broccoli, is excluded, as -1 is my ending value in the range. So, you learned how to create a list, then assign it to a variable name or an identifier, and you learned how to access elements using indexing. Remember, the order of the objects in your list matters. There are more operations which can be performed on lists. You can perform different operations on lists such as iteration, concatenation, repetition, insertion, deletion, etc. First, let me tell you about concatenation. I am going to concatenate two lists. First, I am going to define another list of fruits and pass some values in square brackets. Now, I am going to use add operator to concatenate veggies and fruits into a new list. Print this list using print function. You see a new list having items from veggies and fruits list. Notice that your original list, that is veggies and fruits, are intact. That is, there is no change in them. Or use the extend method to append a list, say fruit, into another without creating a new list. Type veggies.extend fruits. This particular line will add items of fruits into veggies. Now print veggies either by using print function or simply by using name of list. You can see a list here, which is the combination of items of list, fruits, and veggies. This is how we do concatenation in Python. Let me do some magic for you. How to repeat each list element for n number of times. Let me declare a simple list of numbers L1, type some numbers here. Now, multiply this list by 2. See, each element is repeated twice in the list. You can use any other number here and see the difference in the output cell. This is how we perform concatenation and repetition over list in Python. Here, I am modifying the value at index 0 with capsicum. Now print the list and check the result to see the modified value. As you can see now, we have capsicum at index 0 rather than carrot, as the value is modified in the original list. You can not only modify a list, but can also add new values in it using function append. Type veggies.append and pass beetroot. Now print the list here. Output cell shows the new value at the end of the list. You can also find the length of the list using function len, type len, and pass the name of the list to it as an input. The output cell returns 9 as we have a total of 9 elements in the list. You can also insert an item at a particular index using the insert function. The insert function works with two input parameters. The first parameter asks for the index where you want to add an item. Say, I want to add an item at index position 2. And in the next parameter, pass an item value or list of values. Let me run this code for you. See, cabbage is inserted at third position, that is, at index 2. To remove an item from the list, pass its value to remove function. Type veggies.remove and pass any value that you want to remove. Say, I want to remove apple from the list. See, the output apple is now deleted from the list. To remove an item from a location, use del method followed by list name with index. For example, I wish to remove potato from the list. Type del veggies and pass the desired index number to it. Run the code. Now, the element potato is deleted from the list. There is another method, pop. It always removes the last element from the list. Type veggies.pop. It requires 0 argument. See, beetroot is removed from the last of the list. You can copy one list into another. Let me declare an empty list, my list. Print it. The output cell will show an empty list. Assign veggies.copy to it and print my list. It now carries all values of veggies in it. There is a built-in list function to sort elements alphabetically. Let me apply this method on my list. Type mylist.sort. Now run it. As you can see, the list is now arranged alphabetically. You can also find minimum and maximum value from a list. Here, we have a list of string, so let me apply max on it. It returns turnip, as turnip is the one that is at the bottom of the alphabetically arranged list. Next, apply minimum. It returns broccoli as it is at the start of the sorted list. You can also apply these methods on a numbered list as well. For example, we already declared a number list L1. Let me find maximum value of list L1. However, you can do some more experiments with it and try some more functions with it.